Hello and welcome to another episode of Try Talk. Today with me as ever is my wonderful co-host Aneta Soldati, and we are joined by world champion, by Loanne Divousin. Actually, I should have asked if I'm pronouncing your name right before I start. Was that correct? Loanne, welcome.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Thank you.
How do I pronounce your name? Could you give me an example again? Sorry.
Voisin.
Divousin.
Yes.
Okay, close enough. Loanne, we invited you today. Okay, not only because you're the world champ, but you are the world champ. Um, it also seems like probably it's better now than never because you seem to be slowly transitioning away from the world of XTERRA, away from the world of off-road triathlon racing. At least that seems to be the plan from our conversations. You obviously the elephant in the room, at least for the listeners who know you, will be that you do a lot of road racing. You do a lot of road racing, especially in terms of Olympic distance, especially with like the National Federation, Switzerland, and you've done some 70-point frees, and occasionally you come to the world of XTERRA and you do an XTERRA race, and you absolutely kill everybody. You're so incredibly good. So what's up with that? What's up with you?
I was actually correct. You come back to XTERRA because you started with XTERRA and then made a transition to Olympic distance
Exactly.
triathlon. And it seems like it made you better at XTERRA.
Yeah. No, but actually, I think the story is back from a few years ago because I really started with road triathlon. But at the same time, then I also wanted to study. And at the beginning, like then I discovered also cross triathlon. And then I wanted to mix all together. But at the point, my coach told me, okay, now I think you have to choose because you want to do full time studies, to do some road races, all the nationals, and then also to go in other countries to do some cross triathlon. And yeah, so then at that point, I had to to choose to focus somewhere, and it's also there that I was like, okay, I think with Xterra I can also develop more skills because I never been a good swimmer, so I could also like have more bicycle sessions and also more road session and not that much swim because I think if you want to be good you have to swim 5-6 times a week, but with studying it wasn't possible. So then it was always my plan to focus on extra during my races, my studies. And when I finished, I always wanted to go back on the road triathlon. But yeah, I still had accomplishment I wanted to do, like the world championship to win once. So and of course it was also really nice for me to go back and then you also build something with the athletes, and it was always nice to race with extra. So I always wanted to go back for the main races on this circuit, and until I could also I always hope one day I could win the world title. So then it was even more special.
Do you think you got so much better because you obviously did? You were so dominant this year in the races that you came to race. Do you think it is because you finish your studies and have more time to train, or is it because of the training you do for road triathlon?
No, I think it's more about because when I was studying, I couldn't be really consistent. Like during the semester, I focused a lot on maybe too much on the trainings, and then I was so much on late for the exams. So 3 weeks before the exam, I almost couldn't train. So then during the year, I had a lot of like up down, and I think I really learn now how important it is to be just consistent through the weeks, and it's not like a crazy week who will make you better. And I think for my whole studies, I was maybe like, okay, now I focus on the exam, and after that, I go in the camp, and then I do a crazy week, which was really stupid because I did like some week at 28 hours. but yeah, then you are mentally, you think you are really good, but you are not. So yeah, then it was really not consistent. And then I think I developed while I also changed coaches who really teach me how, because it seems easy to be consistent, but it's not. It's also how you have to choose also when you are alone and you feel tired, or you have another things. And think I really learned how to be flexible, because like during my studies I was like, okay, it's all or nothing, so I have to go at the session to do the intervals or nothing. And now I would be like, okay, it's better to go for a 40-minute jog than to go at the track, which is longer, where you will do maybe a harder session than what you are able today, and then you can't recover because the energy is already lower. And yeah, I really learned that. So I think I also developed with the years, and that now obviously I also have more time to recover and also just time off. So each session I really have benefits from. And I think I also just do so much more easy hours that I never did in the past. I think I had in general too much intensity compared to the easy hours I had. And yeah, then I'm just more consistent and less tired, because I also have been in, yeah, a place I don't want to go back, so really exhausted. And then yeah, when you are there, I think you also need a few months or year to come back. And since I think 2023, I could build again myself and yeah, learn how to train well again, and found again my joy for triathlon. And then I think it was just a whole combination, a bit everything together.
And you mentioned changing coaches. That's a huge kind of topic for any athlete, right? And it's a really difficult decision to make. I know Scott just recently changed coach, and it's not only because a coach is good or bad, but it's also because a coaching style suits a different athlete or rider, obviously. So, what was that like for you? How did you come to the realization? Okay, maybe the coach that I have had right now, maybe the style isn't for me, or maybe I need to change.
Yeah, I think I really went to the point that I couldn't had other option. I really, yeah, I realized, okay, or I will stop really soon triathlon, or I have to, yeah, found another solution. And yeah, then it was quite, it's never easy to take the decision. Like you said, it's never just a coach. It's also, yeah, there when I choose to change, um, yeah, I was also living with my teammates, so it was a bit all together. So with that, it wasn't easy. And before that, like when I started triathlon, I had a coach, and yeah, I was really young. So there at that time, I really needed a lot of support, and I think he chose everything for me, but on a really, yeah, good way. And then I went in a team with other athletes, and there, yeah, the other athletes were a bit older as me. And yeah, there it was too different. And also we did a lot of intensity, and the other athletes were like they had more time to train as me. So mainly I had the group session where we did only yeah, the intervals. So in general, I had a lot of intensity and not enough easy things. And yeah, of course, I also then had things where with who I wasn't really agree. And I think also mentally they really push me to the limits, and it wasn't healthy for sure for me. But I won't say it, I think it's never black or white. I won't say it's their fault that I came to their place, because I also wasn't that much mature. I think it's, if now I have to go back with them, I would be more able to choose sometimes. And I think that's also the big difference when you are, like when you just have a private coach than if you are different athletes. And sometimes you also have to be able, it's not for me today, I need a rest day, and I wasn't able at that time. And yeah, now I also realized that, yeah, how a coach know if you need 2 hours or 2 hours 30, they can't, it's not possible. And it's also your role as an athlete to also share more and to say, okay, today 90 minutes would be enough, and the day after maybe he planned 3 hours, but you have, I think, to play with these limits, and at that time I was really not able. And I think now, yeah, everything would be also easier, but yeah, to be where I am today, I really had to, yeah, to learn. And after the team, sorry, um so yeah, in 2023, when I quit the team, it was a bit together. I finished my studies, then I changed at the same time. I changed the team, and then I started to work as a physio half of the time with a new coach. So then I was in general in a better place with less stress, and also someone who really teach me how to train and how to take the good decision and so on. And I think since that day I really started to learn better on a healthy way how to train and what is a good session. And it's not like just crazy intervals, but it's more on the long term. That's, yeah, no crazy trainings, and then you go at a race and there you are really good, but not in a training session. And but yeah, obviously I think you need the coach. For me now, I realized why they should be there is to teach you, and you need to find a good coach, I think, to with who you have uh, yeah, it it could match well. That you trust him, he can teach you well, and you are also honest with him to share, yeah, when you are not feeling good and so on. And then everything, I think, then from there you can really build up and everything gets, yeah, come better.
I think that's the disadvantage of training in the groups. Maybe people don't realize that if you are a young athlete and you are in a group, it can be great for the environment can be very stimulating and it can push you, but sometimes it pushes you too much. And if you, as you said, if you are not mature enough, you're a young athlete, not experienced enough, not understanding your body just yet, because you just can't be that mature when you're 19, 20, 21. I think that's the real downside, because sometimes the group can push you way too far. But I think we've completely forgot to mention that right now you're in Namibia, where you train with a Swiss team. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Is how, I think that's something we wanted to talk about. How does it work in Switzerland? What's your position within the team? Like, what's the criteria to be on that team? And what's what does it mean for you and this year?
Yeah, I when was it now? In 20, sorry, I have to calculate. Now we are at 2026. So,
At
and
least
I
Swiss
think
Road
in
24.
24, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. During the, because when I in 23, when I started to work, then I also had more time to go. We could always join the training camps. Like the old national coach always told me, yeah, if you want, you are always welcome. But I couldn't with school. So then when I finished school, I was like, yeah, now I can join them for the camp. So I just call him, but then they changed the national coach, and he was like, "Yeah, of course you can join us." So then I went with them, and yeah, in 2024, middle of summer, they asked me if I wanted to join the national squad center. So it's there. You don't have any. I don't think, maybe you have some. I don't know them, but criteria to join the team, I think it's more about the potential you have. So yeah, I guess then they are criteria. And then yeah, I also went a lot of time with them in the camp, and with the girls also it was really nice, and they wanted to build a team. So then it was also for me the moment to because the national center is in the Swiss German parts, so about 2 hours from where I was living at the time. So then it was the moment or never to just do my dream, so to have a period where I could just be a professional athlete. So yeah, in 2 weeks I choose to quit my job and to go in the Swiss German part of a few weeks to yeah, visit the region. And then we also went with my husband because yeah, then it was also we had to move together, so to see with his job how he could manage this. And then we both really liked the region. And also yeah, but obviously for me it was nice to have a real squad. And yeah, also then yeah, I always look at the what it can bring for you. And then I was okay, then I will ask to the national coach who yeah also coach athletes, if he wanted to coach me, then I could also have more or less the same session as the some girls of the group. I didn't want it to be yeah, to always have something different. And for me it make more sense. And I was also like, yeah, he can bring me a new perspective. And yeah, I had planned, it was the same philosophy as the coach I had before for yeah, just between the team and where I am now. And so for that I thought it really makes sense to not go in another direction but just to build on that. And so then he was agree and we started together. And then in December we moved with my husband in the Swiss Germany. And so yeah, now I just follow the whole program. So we have yeah, it's great, we have a center with a lot of girls, which is great. Only two boys. So in the past it was always the opposite for me, more boys and not that many girls. So that was really yeah, nice. And we have great coaches and yeah, a lot of support. And yeah, for me it was also really important that they take care of the mental health. And with them I always yeah, feel safe. And you know, they also really know how, for example, family is important. And they just ask the question, do you want to, or do you need to go back a few days at home? And for me it was a really important criteria if I would move my yeah, our whole life there. So yeah, then we have like a year structure with many camps. And since 3 years now I come in Namibia for yeah, like a month to have altitude and heat. And yeah, be out of the tubo a few weeks, which is nice.
But your focus is still going to be road, Olympic road distance triathlon this year.
Yeah, then for me it's not a secret that for this goal I really need the to upgrade my swim level. So we really work hard. I had a lot of swim session this winter and still now. But yeah, then you never know until where you can go. And for sure for me it's not that natural. But yeah, we do what we can. And then I will see if I have to adapt the goals or not. But yeah, every day I train with that goal. And yeah, I will go until where, yeah, I will see until where I can go.
How does this goal setting for like improving work for you? So I would say, especially within swimming and cycling, I'd say it's relatively easy, right? You say, okay, I have an FTP of 280, and I want my FTP to be 300, right? And then I structure my workouts around that. How did you say to yourself, okay, I'm bad at swimming, or you're not bad at swimming, you're so much better than anybody listening, but that's my weakness. I need to get better, and how much do I need to get better by? How do you do that?
Yeah, it's for sure it's not easy because like, you know, if I have a bad run session, I still have the confidence that I'm a good runner and I really don't care. And on the swim, if I have one uh, yeah, bad swim, I'm like, wow, shit, I'm not able to swim anymore. So of course, a huge piece is also mentally. And yeah, I think when you are really good in one sport, then you are also more able to do a step back. Like how many times you are on the bike and you are like, oh, the legs are not that good, then I just go for a coffee, right? And that's okay. But I think weaker you are in a sport, more focus you put, and then you are not that flexible with yourself, which is maybe not that good as well. And so yeah, it's really something I deal with, and I think it will still be there, because I try to do a step back sometimes, but it's still in your head. Then you finish the session and you are still like, maybe it won't be okay, and the day after is good again. But of course, then I with the group with who I am, yeah, there are also a lot of good swimmers, and also now in Namibia there are Bianca Serenini. So then you also, yeah, in many camps, athletes from other country are joining, and you see the lack, it's big, but I think if you focus on the, yeah, too much with the others, is it's not good. But it's more on the process, and I always try to look where I was last year, for example, and just, yeah, to focus on my own process, because that I can control. I can control how, yeah, I focus on a session where I feel bad, but at the end you can feel better because you had a good attitude and you were positive. And if you are like, okay, I'm doing shit, then you stay in this negative mood, then you don't have so much benefits from it. So that's really things I'm able to focus on. But then I really don't know if I can make it. I think we all have goals. A lot. How many athletes want to go to the Olympics? But how are really able at the end? Not that many, and I can't control it. But it's just something who motivate me enough to wake up every day to work hard, and yeah, then I just don't know, and nobody can know it. And I think all the athletes who are at the Olympics also 10 years ago, they didn't know it. And it's also, I think, that with these big goals, that it's nice to know it, to say it, but then you also have to be nice with yourself and to be honest that uh, it's okay if you can't make it. But I think what is nice with, if you have a really high goal, is if you are able to focus on the like journey, how you want to handle every day. At the end, if you have to stop, and I don't know if this year I have to stop because I realize I can't make it, I would be happy because I knew I would know that I did my best to go to this goal. But then we all have our limits, and that's okay.
If it's not a secret, how much do you swim now? You mentioned that you didn't have a time to swim 5, 6 times a week. Do you have that time now?
Yeah. Now swim 6 times a week, and this winter I think we pushed 30 to 35K every week. So yeah, I think for the swimmer, with then also, yeah, I run 5 times a week, so about between 50 and 70K. And also that was, for me, it was hard to swim more. Then also it's normal when you give more time to a sport, you have to reduce somewhere. So we cut on the run, and for me running is really like where I feel free. So also if I'm tired, I love to go running just to feel better afterwards. And we cut a bit there. So some weeks you are like, okay, I'm swimming more. I don't see the improvements, but it's normal because you can't see every week you are getting better at this level. So you have to be patient and to also be honest that maybe it won't work. But yeah, some weeks for that it was hard because I was like, okay, I'm running less for the swim and I don't see the improvements. And we caught in what made me really happy. So that wasn't so, yeah, easy. But on the other hand, outside was foggy, and it was our plan to increase the volume on the winter. And then we will see. Yeah, now I swim, we stabilize around 25K a week, and maybe during races more 20K a week, something like that.
And
That's a lot.
in terms of hours, how much time would that be? I mean, with like the entire training plan, because we talked to our tour 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, or maybe last week. He said he was training 36 hours a week or something on average for the last what 13 years or something ridiculous. So how much are you
Yeah, I
doing?
think we are all different, and you also have to found your limit, like balance between the volume and where you can really recover from and have the most benefits. Because it's nice to train to do a lot of hours, but the benefits are only if you can recover from and get better. So I think that's really individual, and of course you have some trends, but you have athletes who are really good with 20 hours a week, and some they need 26. But like for me, I think this winter, in winter I have average 23, something like that, but I also have a smaller week. Yeah, like when I before my periods, often we have to do a bit less because I'm tired, and that's okay. And then I feel better, and the weather is also nicer, so it's also easier to go a bit longer on the bike. But yeah, I think with the swim and the run, it's there we are really stable. So I don't have that much difference through the year. Maybe in summer I run more, yeah, between 60 and 70K, and yeah, like this winter a bit less, because of the swim. And of course, in summer it's easy to have more hours. So I think in summer I maybe have more 25, because yeah, if you do 2 hours on the tube or 2 hours outside, it's not the same impact. And in summer, it's easy to have a recovery ride 90 minutes somewhere in the week, but in winter, it's not a coffee ride on the tube, or it's not that nice. So for that also, it's a bit different during the year for me. But then you also see in the group differences between the athletes. And like for me, I'm quite muscular and I don't need that much high intensity on the long term. Otherwise, I can't really recover. Like we saw that in 3 weeks, I can have higher intensity, and I answer quite quickly to that. Probably because I'm quite naturally muscular. But if we keep that load longer, then I also get tired more than other athletes. So and for that also the longer session, I recover really well if I have 4 hours on the bike. It's not a problem. But some other athletes, the day after, they don't have so much more energy. So you really see these differences, and I think that's when you are younger, or still some athletes, they just see the numbers, the hours, but don't realize that it's really individual. And also, I don't know, if you have like family problems, or next to that a job, it's almost stupid to do 25 hours if you are working 80% of the time. And some people are still doing that, but if you can't recover, then you just sleep 5 6 hours a night. Then it's a bit sad because you work so much, you do sacrifices for that, and then you are not really getting better. And you see with these athletes, when you break a bit the number of hours, then they are just getting better, and they are like, in the past I trained way more, but now I'm much better. So yeah.
I think I will make my athletes listen to this episode because you describe exactly what I'm trying to tell them and what they don't listen to.
Yeah, I
Can
also
we
coach some female athlete now, and yeah, it's a funny, always a funny topic. But I think if they trust you, then it's okay. But at the beginning, you have to be like, stay calm, and yeah, you will just see by yourself how you feel. And after a few weeks, you have a message. Wow, it's really nice because I have much more energy for everything, and I'm getting better with doing less, which is nice. And yeah.
So you mentioned uh, training on your period. You're more fatigued or more tired, and so you lower your hours. We had Marta on the podcast as well, and she was talking, and I forget which if it was Aneta or Marta, but I think it was Marta who said that she races on her period really well, right?
No, it was
It was
me.
you. Okay, it
Mm.
was you. So
I said
basically,
that, no, not on my period, but just before my period, when you feel the worst, then I always have a good race, which is so weird. Marta was saying the opposite, actually, that she really struggles to race when she has a period. And that's something that I also read in your interview, Loanne, with XTERRA. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that, yeah, I think that's more common.
So how
Yes.
does it affect you? How do you work with racing in your period and training in your period?
Yeah, like for example, in winter, it's easier to manage, because like for me, the week before my periods, I feel more tired and I have less energy. But for endurance, at the end, like okay, we are women and we have to find our way how to adapt and to stay healthy. But if you yeah want to perform, you still need the hours, and yeah, like before the week before my periods there, if I do really like easy endurance, of course it's not that comfortable, and the feeling is that I'm tired, but and I also see the motivation is really low. I don't want to go to train myself, but then I still go, and then on the bike you are like, okay, it's not that bad, I can still do the work. And of course a week after you feel great, and you are really happy to be back on the training and so on. Um, but if we put too much intensity, then I really struggle. So that we also found, and I will adapt by myself because every cycle is not the same. So if I feel I'm pushing through too much, then I will just go lower to the intensity. And I don't know, if we have 6 repetition of something, if after the second one I still feel shit and I see I really can't hold even if it's lower, then I just stop the intervals and I finish just endurance. And I think it's something who yeah work really well for me. And then for races, I was always like, yeah, shit. Then if I have a race on that day, I will struggle. But we try to just listen at the body. So yeah, I think also yeah this year and the year before, the worlds were at the same time just before my periods, and so I was a bit scared, but it was good that the year before I had the same experience and we just cut everywhere. So I don't know how many hours I had during the week, but I was like, well, I think I can't do a race now because yeah, every just the little activation I had to do less because I couldn't really push, or I had to do easier. Also, just endurance, I had to do less. But then the race, the day of the race, I felt really good and I could push. And then I was like, okay, so I just have to listen my body and to do less when I feel I'm tired, even if I just to don't look at the numbers. And this year I did the same, and then it went yeah really well. But I also have another race in summer. It was really warm, and it was a short one, so really intense, and I couldn't push. So I think it's also the limits that you also have to accept as a woman if you have to keep your natural cycle, which is you have a lot of benefits, but you also have negative parts. And yeah, then if you want to have a natural cycle, it's sad, but it's also the price to pay, even if you can improve. But for me, if I have like 15 races and I miss one, yeah, it's okay. And even if my coach is like, yeah, but imagine it's an important race, yeah, then it's shit, but it's life.
But it's not worth sacrificing your health, is it?
Yeah.
To the opposite, what you described the week before the World Champs, the week before the European Champs, you definitely did not train less. Like there was a rumor that you are coming to the European Champs. The start list wasn't like out, so we didn't know. And then I saw you did like 100K ride on Tuesday or Wednesday in
Day before.
Switzerland in altitude, and I was like, there is no way she's not coming. And then you showed up in Germany and you were in prime shape and so dominating. And if you didn't have the accident with a chain, like you would probably won. But
Probably she would have won.
you would have
There's
won.
absolutely
Yes.
no doubt. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you run like 5 minutes faster than anyone else.
It's ridiculous.
So what kind of taper was that?
Yeah, no taper at all. No, but the in camp we always have a routine: 3 days work, a day off, 2 days work, a day off. And after the 2 days work, we have day off with like little swim, but almost nothing. And that's what I'm doing the whole year. And it's just then you can during the year increase the volume. And yeah, then like I really wanted to do the worlds, but I just learned in July that I had to do another race before. And then I look at the races and I was like, okay, the only race I can go is Sitao, but it's in the middle of the camp. So I told my coach I want to race there, but it's just out back and I want to keep the same load. And yeah, the week after I felt really well during the that weeks, and before the camp I also had every year in July I have an easy week where I can do what I want. And I really love just to go on the bike. And I went to Sunrise home and we just did a lot of bike ride, but easy without plan. And so then I also get to the camp really fresh. And yeah, the feeling was really good every day. And then I was like, when you have a number of hours quite high, then if you think, okay, I have to do kind of tempo 3 hours, and you think you can make it, then it's okay. Because on that period, I was between 5 and 6 hour a day. So if I cut the half and I have 2 days a bit less before, and then just have to do 3 hours tempo, I thought, I think it's okay. So that's how it happened. But yeah, I didn't. I just cut 2 days before. Like I had the rest day after the 3 days block, and so I just went to swim, and then we started to travel, and then we arrived the day after, so the day before the race, and there I just had an hour on the bike course, and the day after the course. So in my head, I was like, I have a race, but I had 2 easy days before that. And maybe it seems a bit weird, but with that, we never push to the limits. You know, I'm never doing crazy hours where after that I need 5 day recover. And like in the past during my studies, I also experienced to do some period with so much, and then you need a lot of recovery, but you don't know how much you need to recover from. And if you can be really consistent, and we are not doing we do a lot of easy hours and intensity, but not really high. So then you know really well how the body is recovered and how long you need. So I think with that, it's also easier to plan a race in the middle of a block.
So was that part of the reason why you finished the race? Like you broke your chain with
Yes.
10, 15 kilometers to go. And I think most of the people would just give up, especially like your husband stood, I don't know, 3, 4 kilometers from where it happened or where I passed you. So naturally, I think I would just stop there, right? Like I wouldn't try to fix it and run. But you mentioned that it was part of your training block. So was the training hours and the like on your mind where you're like, oh, I need to finish this race so I have enough of work of training hours?
Yeah, I always choose by my own. My coach is if I said I don't want to train, he always said it's okay. Huh? He never told me you have to finish, but of course, yeah, it was really long this travel for that race. And before that, I felt really good. I was so happy to go to this race, and when I break the chain, I was like, yeah, holy shit, I want to finish that race. And then I also didn't want it to quit. And then I always, like in my head, I always look at plane A and B. And okay, I could stop, but then I was like, if I stop, how I will feel? Then I would be sad, angry, whatever. And I was like, if I finish, then I would be in a better place mentally. And then I was also like, if I finish, I would be more proud of myself to get the better of the situation. And yeah, to finish the race despite the circumstance. And yeah, I was also like, then it's a good training. I can still have a 10K, and then I go back in training camp, and it's shit, but that's life. So then it was also the motivation I had to, yeah, to finish the race. And luckily I could, yeah, someone, an athlete gave me the piece to fix the chain. So yeah, after that I was so happy. And I was like, yeah, now I will finish, because everyone told me, yeah, you don't have to finish. And I was like, yeah, but my bike if it is fixed, so I can go on. So yeah, then it was nice. And then I was running and I passed again the guy who gave me the piece, and he was so happy, and he made my race. So then it was nice, of course. Then after the race, you are like, I could win that race. And it's never, I would never take that for free. But on the other hand, it was also just fun to, yeah, I don't know if I can say that it was fun, but yeah, you know what
It
I
was
mean.
definitely a statement. Like to run that fast in that race before, like 5 weeks before World Champs, I think that gave a lot of people like something to think about. And
Yeah, then it was also, when I had to choose during the race, I was also like, I want to see where my fitness is. And if I stop now, I can't. Of course, I could see that on the bike it was good, but I also thought if I finished the race, then the run, was definitely not really pushing. I was more, yeah, a bit tempo. When you are a bit at the end of a race, you are like, I just run, but not with my whole energy. And also, I had to pass everybody. So on the yeah, Fini path, it wasn't that easy. But afterwards, I think it was the best decision, because you choose to finish, and then you are like, okay, mentally, I also train something. And because the whole race, then you really have to stay focused. It's really like, for me, if I choose, I don't have to go back. So then also mentally you train something good. And afterward I was really proud, because I also could realize, okay, the fitness is there. And even with a bad run, I run like 5 minutes faster as everyone. And then I also thought, I'm not the single one to look at the results. So maybe everyone also saw it. So I was, okay, maybe it's also nice to, yeah, to show this to the world, that I'm not often at the extra races, but if I come, I'm on shape. So I thought maybe I could, yeah, have also a mental advantage, which you never know if it's right or not, because maybe it was just on that day that I was great. But even if you, yeah, if you do bullshit, I would also take it.
That was the most bizarre race ever. I was there, and I've talked about this. I was there, and I sprinted all the way up to the top of the first climb. After you guys started, because I had to get very ahead of you, and you were so much faster than I am. So I managed to get there, and you were just so far ahead of all of the competition. I think it was like 2 minutes or something. It was ridiculous. I was like, wow, Loanne is just completely on fire. And then I went and rode to the second timing point, which I had outlined on the map. And I got there, and you weren't there. I was like, what happened? And Aneta yelled at me that you had broken your chain. And then I had ridden down, and down at the bottom of the hill, I met you. And I think your husband was calling me at the time. And so in the middle of the race, your husband and I were calling, and you were there, and we had like a call in the middle of the race. It was so bizarre. This has never happened to me ever before. It's so strange. Anyway, and I remember you saying, "Oh, I don't know if to finish or not," and yes, it was really cool. And I know Isla said that because you finished that day with the broken chain, Isla Headley. She said she was inspired to finish with the punctured wheel at Molveno
Ah,
when she came
okay, I
seventh.
didn't know it. That's so
Yeah,
cute.
yeah, that
Yeah, I
was
think,
really sweet.
also in, yeah, in the past, when mentally I was not, yeah, during my studies, when it was really hard, I would never be able to race like that. And also now, because from outside sometimes Aneta, you know it, but it's not easy to stay focused on your task and not allow your head to go everywhere and be like, okay, you are not good enough, I will stop, it's not my day, and so on. And I've experienced that. And like now, when you know that the physic is there and also the head, then why you should stop? And for me, it was also just to be respectful for myself, because I worked really hard, and I don't want to quit a race when the head is going well. And then you also pull you down. And in the past, it was not also a problem if I would feel in a bad place to quit a race. But because everything was down, in this situation, it's okay to quit. But there, I just broke the chain. But my body was still in one piece and my head was still there and I was still focused. So then I was like, okay, come on, you run, you have 2 feet and maybe someone can help you. But first, I wanted to run to the finish line with the bike. And then Seb told me, yeah, but you still have a big way to go. Then I look on the Garmin, I was like, yeah, shit, it's still 10K. Well, I can't. And then, but until there, I was also like, 21K, I did last week. I can do it. It's just a bike you have to pull. And yeah, then it's
There's a lot of
also,
downhills. You could have like ridden down.
yeah,
So
the
you would have
first
to
part
run.
was down when you passed me, but then it was flat and all the way back. I think it's 5K, no, on the gravel. Like
Yeah.
when I had the
Yeah.
bike fixed, I realized how much I still had to go, but I never doubt I wouldn't finish the race. So I was really like, I finish. And then I realized when I was back on the bike fixed that it would be a lot and I would probably kill my feet. Went back to the training, and then I would probably have problem with the coaches who maybe think I lose my head to not think I will destroy myself for the rest of the week. I wanted to finish a race for nothing. Yeah.
That's really impressive.
I remember, speaking of having your head in the game, when Aneta, when you were riding in Prachatica, a short track, and they sent you the wrong way, uh, and then you were riding up the hill, and you got to the part where I was, and you were yelling at me in the middle of the race while you were leading the race. They sent me the wrong way. I was like, focus on your race. What are you talking about? Who cares? Focus
I
on
can
the
distract
race.
very easily. Yeah. Well, I might be one of the eldest now in XTERRA racing, but I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah, but it takes, I think we all have days where we are better. Like you can have a race where the physique is not that much present, but then mentally you are really strong and you can do something like average medium at the end. And you have like races where yeah, the physique is there but not the head, and then it's not that good. And I think when you can bring both together at the race, then you are just shining and then really happy at the end, whatever of the results.
I think it's actually harder to race with a bad head and a good body than the other way around. Like if your
Yes.
head is not in it,
Yeah.
like you can't do anything with it.
No, yeah.
But if your body is not responding, but your mind is determined, you can still do something with it.
Yeah, yeah. But like for the worlds, that was also challenging because with the cold, I hate the cold and I'm always cold. Also at the trainings in the water, and then it's really hard. I think just physically my muscle gets tight. So then the feeling is up really shit. And then the head is not really following, and for that race, I was, I think, really ready that I would be cold and that I had to be out of my body and that I would have to push. I remember 2 weeks before the race, I went to a pass close to our home and it was snowing at the top. And Seb told me, you don't have to go there, it's too high and it's stupid, you will get sick. And it was raining like never. I had to put like footers on the bike suit, and I knew what I had to do this training because it was like tempo, so nothing that hard, but I would get to, because to go to the up to the pass you have like an hour 30, so I had exactly the good time to get cold at the bottom, and then I would have to start the interval and with a cold body. So, and that what I did, and I was like, okay, now the feeling is shit, don't look at the numbers, just push. And then I went back at home and I was like, okay, Loan, that is exactly what you will feel at the Worlds. And I think it really helped me, because after the swim, obviously I was cold, and yeah, the first loop, the first uphill, my God, I was really cold. I couldn't. It's like if you can't push, but I think it really, yeah, helped me to had this kind of session and to be mentally ready, even if in that this kind of race you don't think you are ready physically, because you don't feel anything, so you don't feel like great. And compared to Zita, where I really love the hot condition and I feel relaxed and I like it, it's hard and I can push even more when it's warm. But in Malveno, never, because I'm like,
I think
it's
I think it's
tight
so
and I want
important.
to push this.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that everyone feels like that, and
Yeah,
everyone feels shit, and you're not alone. Because
yeah,
I think the first year I raced there, I felt so bad, and I thought like it's just me. But then you realize everyone is feeling the same, and that
yeah,
everyone is
yeah,
just the
yeah.
same race, kind of.
Isla said she attacked because she was cold.
Yeah.
But was this the what was the strategy when you were, or what was the mindset going into Moveno, apart from expecting what you were going to feel? What do you think you were going to do? Did you think, okay, um, I will swim with a group, try to not lose time on the bike, and run and win on the run, or did you expect the race to play out the way it did, kind of leading on the second lap?
Like in that condition, I wasn't really confident that I could swim with a good group, and quite quickly, because also I didn't went in the water to do any warm up to try to not get cold. But then it's also hard to swim well. So yeah, I also didn't want it to put me any pressure on the swim, and I think I was confident enough on my bike. So I thought if I can just stay with the girls, with the main group, it would be nice. And quickly I saw Solène, so I just choose to stay behind in the feeds, um, and to try to not lose so much energy because I would need more later. And then on the bike, yeah, I'm not doing any mountain bike now. So in this condition, if you are not, doing a lot of mountain bike, you have to be really strategic. So to push where it's easier. So on the uphill and gravel section, I knew I had to push, to try to not be catched so quickly on the downhill. So the plan was quite easy. I just had to push where I could and don't take crazy risk on the downhills. And yeah, at the end, I thought I would be catch faster on the bike, but I knew if I would have a gap 2 3 minutes on the run, I could catch. Um, but yeah, then it was perfect to lift the bike with Salem. I think it was the best scenario I could dream. And then I was like, well, I just have to stay focused, not do crazy things on the downhill, to I don't know, split the ankle and have the good nutrition. So I just try to stay really focused. And but I think it's the race I've been the most focused the whole race. I just had tasks to do, and it's like if you are a machine and you are like, now that is the task, and 5 minutes after that, and I was really really focused. And yeah, I think it was really nice. And for such a long race, I don't know, at 15 years old, I wouldn't be able. I think I was able to focus maybe 30 minutes on a whole race of 3 hours. And that was really cool because I was like, well, I made it for 3 hours.
Well, it was very impressive, very dominant race. Is there any more Xterra in your future, or are you gonna be solely focusing on the road now?
Yeah, I think on the yeah, I won't said yes or no, but for sure, I knew also, when you have goals, you also need to do the sacrifices who, uh, yeah, give you the possibility to achieve the goals. And I also knew Molveno was probably the last chance I would have to win the worlds, because to do the travel to Molveno, it's okay by car. But if I have to fly to New Mexico with a race at like 2000 elevation more, you also need a really specific preparation if you want to give you the whole chance to win there. So I was like, maybe it's the last time I can make it. And yeah, this year I think maybe just the Swiss extra. But yeah, then I don't, my plan is not official and fixed. But I don't really plan to do other, yeah, extra.
Yeah, unless you, Oliver, have some more question, I think we talk for long enough now.
Yeah, I agree. This has been really interesting, and I have so many more follow-up questions. And I think we could talk for another hour, but I think you, Loan, probably have to do some training at some point. Um, and yeah, I think an hour is maybe about
More
where
than
we'll
enough.
cut it. Yeah. Um, Before we end, would you like to shout out any of your sponsors that support you, in your journey?
Yes, of course. Like, my sponsor I have now started with me when I was 15 years old. And it's a really nice journey because they started doing, it's like local company who started to support me, and then they always follow me with my dreams. And the first time I qualified to Hawaii, I was like, the budget now is a bit bigger, and they bring also more. And then they always support me through my studies. And one of my main sponsor now told me when he wanted to study with me, um, the only condition that I had to finish my studies. And if then I wanted to do only sport, he will support me more. But I was like, okay, that's so great to see that. And then when I told them I had the project to do only sports, then they were always there. So yeah, I think I'm so lucky and grateful to have them. And yeah, I think it's really nice to support to that way. And just with my like local company from my little region, and to support such a journey, I think it's really, yeah, nice.
What is their name, if I may ask?
Oh yeah, it's it's not huge company, so I need a lot of them. So I don't know you want the whole list, but you can. Yeah, I have they are all on the website, and yeah.
Yeah, on your website. Uh, Go give Loanne a follow on her social media. Check out her website to support her and her sponsors. Aneta, thank you so much for making the time. Loanne, thank you so much for making the time. And this is all for us. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.